Tahoe.
Where the wife is supposed to be reading it and has not.
Good. Yeah. Do you have a copy of the book?
Not with me.
That's fine because I guess I'll end up doing most of the reading. So anyway, well, file number 3 says, rich people are committed to being rich, and poor people want to be rich. And I'm going to read a little bit straight from it. Ask most people if they want to be rich, and they look at you as if you were crazy. Of course I want to be rich, they say. The truth, however, is that most people don't really want to be rich. Why? Because they have a lot of negative well files in their subconscious mind that tell them there is something wrong with being rich. How many of you here can relate to that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
what are some of those well files we have to get rid of? Anyone think of any?
Things like rich people are greedy.
Yeah, rich people are greedy.
Yep. Yep. You have to have money to make money. You know. All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, one that I always had was that I was always taught growing up. There were a couple of them. One is money is the root of all evil,
Yeah.
and it is, well, how's it go? It is easier for a camel to get through the eye of the needle than it is for a wealthy man to get into heaven. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, and not everyone grew up that way, but where I grew up, money was how can you say it, a route to eternal damnation.
I always like need money to make money, which isn't true.
No. What do you need to make money?
Connections.
I think the biggest one from my childhood was probably more like, we can't afford that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
We can't afford that. We can't afford that.
Money doesn't grow on trees.
Stuck into your head, yeah.
yeah. Money doesn't grow on trees. Yeah, tell that to Weyerhaeuser Paper Company. Money doesn't grow on trees. Yeah, money doesn't grow on trees. Yeah, so we grow up with all these different notions that are put in our head, and I like the way Jeff usually says it, by well-meaning people.
Mm-hmm.
They're just passing on the wisdom that they've learned from over the years. It's not like they're trying to hurt us or anything.
Yep.
But they pass along that wisdom, and then we end up taking it up. And it holds us back when we come to make money. And Eric said one thing you need to make money or helps make money is connections. Yeah. And, one thing, I don't know if you guys were taught that, but one thing I was taught that as well, file that I erased was that you couldn't make connections, you were born with them. And if you weren't born with them, I heard a guy talking on the radio yesterday who was complaining because even though he had better entrance scores, his friends he grew up with got into Berkeley and he didn't because his friends' parents knew people on the board of trustees of Berkeley and stuff like that.
Right. It's a connection.
Yeah, a connection. But you could stop there with that. Or you could say, gee, there's over 600 universities in the state of California.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not...
Go across the river to Stanford.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to fail for the rest of your life because you go to Stanford instead of Berkeley. Even UC Davis or Cal Polytechnic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are other options. There are other options out there. But connections are one thing that help you. If you're born with them, it's wonderful. If not, there's nothing wrong with introducing yourself to
You
people.
got all the social networks. It's a lot easier now than ever before.
Oh, yeah. Social networking, it is so much. It is so much easier than it was before. I mean, I was born just on the edge of things when you actually had to write letters. And the letters took like 2 weeks to get there and then 2 weeks to get back. Yeah. I still did it that way. Let's see. You guys you weren't, but you guys were at the Alex Mandossian event, right?
I was.
You were at the Alex Mandossian event. John wasn't. Yeah, we went to this wonderful event hosted by Alex Mandossian in California last month. And anyway, I wrote snail mail letters to certain contacts after the event. Nice little thank you cards.
Right.
And one of them just got it about 3 days ago.
Just got it.
Just got it. It's been almost a month. Now, I will say this gentleman lives in Switzerland, so takes a little while longer. But, yeah, the snail mail. And the funny thing was he got the card and he emailed me back to thank me, and I emailed him back, and we've talked 3 or 4 times in the 2 days since he got the card that took 3 weeks to get there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So as Eric says, now is easier than ever.
No, this-
I mean, literally someone in Switzerland or someplace could be watching this right now.
Mhm. Oh yeah, exactly. The
Yeah.
speed of connection in the world today is the blink of an eye.
Yeah. So what else do you need to make money besides connections?
Opportunity.
There we go. Opportunity. Again, is that something you're going to find in your living room, or would it be easier if you went out and looked for it a little
Nobody's
bit?
going to knock on your door.
Yes. Occasionally, but
Somebody might knock on your door.
someone
yeah,
might
if
knock
you're
on
lucky
your
enough.
door.
But then you'd be like, man, I had to get up off the couch to answer
Yeah.
the door, and then you're not
Yep. But in general, not.
Thank you.
So, everybody good?
Yep. Come right over here for just a second, Cheryl. Look right there. Come right
Say
over.
hi, world.
Can't quite see.
Hi.
Hi, this is Cheryl.
How you doing?
We're broadcasting from Coco's Restaurant in the parking lot of Paradise Valley Mall. If you ever come to Phoenix, make sure to have breakfast at Coco's. Ask for Cheryl and tip big. Hey. Thanks, Cheryl.
Have a good day.
She always takes great care of us.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So now I'll be on YouTube for posterity.
There you go.
Hopefully we'll get Cheryl a lot of tips over the years. And so connections, you need opportunity. And do you think you need a mindset where you go looking for that opportunity?
Yep.
Yes.
Mindset's everything.
Yeah, mindset is everything. Like Greg Reeves, 3 feet from gold.
Yeah, that opportunity
You know?
could actually knock on your door, but you're not in the right place. You
Yeah.
wouldn't even know it was there.
Yeah, how they say it, right person in the right place at the right time. Yeah. So that also is needed. What else is needed when you think to be successful and committed to being rich?
Ideas,
Ideas, creativity,
creativity, ideas.
Well, you just said it in the question you asked. Commitment.
commitment. Yes, commitment is also necessary.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very important. In fact, I think that's a good way to segue back into our book. And he's talking about T. Harv Eker does something called the Millionaire Mind Intensive Seminar. I've been there. Have you been to one yet?
Yeah.
Eric has been there. Paul, have you been there? Paul's been there, and John's been there. In fact, I met Paul at Millionaire Mind Intensive,
That's how
Yeah.
you found out
That's
about.
why you're here.
and that's how I ended up here. Yeah. Talk about connections at the Millionaire Mind Intensive. I met a wonderful gentleman named Marlon, and he introduced me to Paul, who introduced me to the 2% Club, and Jeff Fagan, who, by the way, hi Jeff, if you watch this. He isn't here this week. That's why I'm taking over and trying this experiment. And, so all of a sudden, all these connections are made. But I wouldn't have found that if I would have just sat at home.
Very true.
Yeah.
You gotta get
I
out.
had to get up. I had to go to a 3-day intensive seminar, and it was wonderful.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. And T. Harv Eker does these seminars in all over the United States and Canada and several other countries in the world on a fairly regular basis. And he says at seminar, he always asks people, what are some possible negatives about being rich or trying to get rich? And people say, well, I'm worried I'm going to lose it. Make it and lose it.
Yep.
How many people have known someone who's done that? They say it happens a lot with like lottery winners. Yeah. Happened a lot to some overnight real estate people I knew about 7-8 years ago. Yeah. Although I knew plenty of old time real estate people that actually made money because they had the hedges. They
Right.
played both ways, or they were in it for long term income, and rents actually did a little bit better after people started losing their houses. It's easier to fill
Wait,
an apartment.
that's got to be like the biggest cop out of all to sit there and say, you know what, I'm not even going to try to make it because I'm afraid I might lose it.
Yeah.
Well, freaking make it first and see if you can hang on to it.
Right.
You know, give it a shot. What are
Right.
you waiting on?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I wish I had money to
Yeah.
lose.
Yep. Another one they say is I won't know if people like me for myself or for my money. And, that's like a Hollywood thing. You notice how many movies there are about, like, rich people that go undercover to see if anyone will actually like them? I mean, I think that's been going on since, like, the 30s they've been making movies like that. Yeah. Another one is, this is always my favorite. I'll be in a higher tax bracket.
I would. That's funny. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind.
Something to open the bottle of champagne over.
Love to be in a higher tax bracket.
I'd love to file $1 million tax return.
Let me see if I can adjust here a little bit. I'm getting nothing but the sun on this.
You might have to turn it.
Yeah, I may have to turn it because I'm
Sit
looking.
here over there.
Sit right there because I, not for the religious, but I'm looking like a prominent religious figure right now. I have like a
Yeah.
crown on top of my head of golden light.
You got the halo.
Yeah, yeah. I have seen the light. I will.
Turn everything.
Let me move it around. This is all the technical stuff that you learn,
Absolutely.
that you learn by doing.
We know the head of the table is now over there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if we want to, because then the light will shine on there.
He was.
Yeah, yeah. Then people will shine. The light will shine on their face, and it'll come up.
Should we move the flag too, so it's still behind you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think you can see
Golden Liberty, man.
Golden Liberty.
That should be much better.
It seems to be picking you guys up well. Okay, let's see if this is much better. Oh, that does look much better.
Much better.
Right here. How's it look on your device?
You're still about 20 seconds away.
Oh, okay. I forgot. It shows the tape delay.
I think I'm still about 20 seconds away.
Still about 20 seconds away. So let's see what else we have on the wall file here.
Or else you just set it there and set it this way. That way we're all in here.
That's an idea.
So,
Let's see if that'll work.
Except for we have all the stuff on the table.
Yeah, that's the one thing I thought of then. That's the one thing why I didn't do it because I
Push
thought
it here.
instead of seeing everyone, we would see the
Oh yeah, it's a lot better.
stuff on the table,
Mm-hmm.
and because this thing is
Right.
bent down, if this thing was straight out,
Mm-hmm.
so I did think of both of those. But let's see.
Just down low enough so that way it cuts out all the.
yeah.
There we are.
Yeah.
Oh,
Although
crap, now you
it's-
can see all of our beers and our.
Whoops. There goes all that.
Then you're out of it. You have to lean over.
No, that's even better. I'll be out of it, and then no one will see
Well,
me.
actually,
Sure.
if you don't need to be still,
There you go.
if me and Eric everybody scoots down one seat, then we'll all be in
Okay,
it.
let's try.
There we go.
Actually, that's how Jeff should do it, man. And then he stand up
Well,
at the end
that's
and just
good.
have the
And then
microphone down like
He should sit down that one, and
Right.
he should put the microphone right in that Tabasco stand right there
Actually, if we
in
just
front
got,
of Paul, and would catch everyone.
well, no, well, yeah, the microphone, yeah, and then if we just got a high chair or something, and set the thing over there, set it up high where we can just get the whole overview, it'd be perfect.
That'd work.
So, other things to consider.
Okay, let's see how this looks.
That's what I was already thinking about when I was coming in here, is being able to set it up back here somewhere and get the whole, like if you had a table full of people, be able to like see everybody. That was, of course, it'd be the back of the head the most, if you're looking at Jeff. But
See your
Well,
eyes
that doesn't
glow.
look that
We'll watch
doesn't
him
look
on the
bad here.
screen.
Let me see how. Oh, look at the microphone. See how it's picking people up?
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's great. Because that was one of my main concerns was I wasn't sure because this is a headset microphone. I wasn't sure if it would pick up the people talking, but it looks like
okay.
it is, at least from the sound monitor we have there.
Gotcha.
So that's great. Yeah, you can hear it. And again, everyone has a volume adjustment on their phone or computer. So, okay, so this is one of my personal favorite. and probably one of the main reasons, I don't know if it's one of the main reasons, but a reason why, people don't try to get rich is because it's too much work.
Yeah.
You actually have to do something. One of the things I read is Robert Kiyosaki said that although he thought it was a good thing that, the United States is one of the richest countries in the world, he also said it works against the population in that getting by in the U.S. is almost too good. You know what I mean? If you just get by, you're still living a pretty good life in the United States. And there was actually a thing on Quora. Any of you guys on Quora? Someone posted a question: Why are people satisfied with just working an 8-hour day for low pay? And why don't they want more? And one of the people wrote a rather long answer to it. It said, "Well, I get home from work about 6:30 at night, and I have fresh vegetables in my refrigerator, and my air conditioning works, and I have a supermarket about 3 miles away where I can get almost anything I want." And they're just kind of lulled into a complacency. Yeah.
They're too comfortable.
Yeah. And they're comfortable enough that they don't realize that if all you have is working income, that could one day just all go away. They don't realize that if they get laid off, that could all go away, say, in 3 weeks or a month, for most people I've talked to in the United States. And from what studies show, studies are showing that most people who are 60 only have a $25,000 cushion.
Nobody has 3 to 6 months reserves.
Yeah.
Those who did before 2008 lost it all.
Yeah, some of them did. Yeah, that they didn't know what they were. They didn't have the knowledge of what they were doing and what they needed to do, which is
probably a statistic that 97% of Americans die with less than $1,000 in their bank account.
Yeah.
That's
I
timing
could see
it just
that.
right then.
Yeah, that's perfect
I worked it out, baby. It's all gone. You ain't getting none, kids.
Get none, kids. Yeah. People, trying to live off of Social Security or whatever. Yeah. And so that is some of it.
Mm-hmm.
In my day job, I've been working with, some of the poorest of the poor, and I will have to say it's a lot different than it was when I first started 25, 30 years ago. 25, 30 years ago, being the poorest of the poor means that you didn't have an air conditioning and you didn't have a phone. And nowadays, of course, almost every in the poorest of the poor have some type of actually smartphone device. Part of it is the government supplies it for free now. And almost every one of them has a fairly large size TV, and everyone has a computing device. Even some of the homeless people have computers in their backpacks or shopping carts, as they go around. So it is, not saying there isn't a big problem with homelessness and we need to help those people, but saying that
They have opportunities at their fingertips. They're not taking advantage.
yeah. Well, and being poor in one of the wealthier countries like the U.S. or Canada or one of the Western European countries doesn't mean anymore that you're 1 second from, you're 2 days from starving to death.
All they need is a programming folks, since they already have the computer for free.
Yeah, there we go.
So they can learn to program and then become wealthy, go work for Google, become financially free. And
Yeah. Well, more skills than that. They also need to learn. Yeah. They also need to learn that, yes, you do have to follow some rules in life or people won't have you around long.
absolutely.
Yeah. There are other things going on with that population, but I'm just saying they're not teetering on the edge of starvation and having no clothes on their back and stuff, like was the case maybe 25 years ago. Yeah. So.
No, they probably make really good money standing on the corner when the cars go by because.
That's the funny thing is that's not the crowd that does that. They don't have those skills. Having worked with them, actually, I shouldn't say this, but a lot of people standing in the corner are often middle class people. Yeah.
I believe it.
There's one I was like, you notice he's only there after work hours. There's one particular neighborhood that he shows up there around 5 in the afternoon. He's there
Right.
from like 5 to 7
Pulls a 2-hour shift and goes home.
and goes home. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he just got off from work. You can also tell he's relatively well dressed and stuff.
Mhm.
But he's there. He's there 4 or 5 days a week.
Oh, I've seen them at our. Actually, right over there at Fry's, they come in, they buy the great big gourmet apples,
Yeah.
a couple of them, take home and eat.
Well, you need it to keep your strength up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the gourmet breads, not the
Yep.
white bread.
Yeah. And some of it is if they had some of this education, like, in the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, they would, they would have a better chance if they applied that energy to actually becoming wealthy, they could do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They already have the work ethic to do it.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, they're already working.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're already creative. They come up with those signs, those marketing signs. People handing over.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
some creative marketers out
This
there.
way, they're dedicated, standing out there in that heat, 100+ degrees.
Yeah.
Level.
Ooh. Yeah. I don't want to do that.
No,
They're just committed to the wrong job, I guess.
I get
Yeah.
that's their job.
Yeah. Coming to the wrong job. They go and do whatever job they do. They're 8 to 5er, and then or in Arizona it's off of 7 to 3. And then from 4 to 6 or 5 to 7, they, get a little extra money. I guess you can't fault someone for getting a little extra money on the side. But as I said, the poorest of the poor often aren't the ones doing that because they lack the skills and they have other issues.
Right.
And we do need to help those people. I'm not trying to disparage them in any way, shape, or form.
I always thought a great marketing idea
Yeah.
would be to go out there on the corner and instead of asking everybody that drives by for something, offer to give them something.
Yeah.
And whatever business you're in or whatever, have something that you can give them that I mean, just flip the script on that.
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, just have something to give away to passersby.
Give them all $1.
There you go.
Tape a quarter to your business card or something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
No, I'm not asking for nothing. I want to give you something. There you go.
if you had the right business and the right plan, yeah, like a foot in the door marketing.
You know what? Let's try that out. Now cars for Swiss Flow Gold.
There you
Just
go.
put a little sign. Hey, I'm not asking for anything. In fact, I want to give you something. Open your window.
Yeah. You can try it. Who
You want
knows?
more out of life?
Yeah.
Here, take my business card. Give me a call.
Who
Yeah, you just
knows?
got to think of the right creative approach that people will be like, okay, what's this guy?
Right. Yeah. So a couple others that they have here is, let's see, a couple others that T. Harv Eker put down as why people don't commit to being rich. Everyone around me is going to want a handout. I could be robbed. My kids could be kidnapped. Or the big one, it's too much responsibility. I'll have to manage that money. I'll have to really understand investment. I'll have to worry about tax strategies and asset protection. I have to hire expensive accountants and lawyers. Yuck, what a hassle. So,
Yeah, what a cop out.
what a cop.
I've never thought of those fears. Like, really, none
Yeah.
of those fears ever crossed my mind. Like, oh, if I'm a millionaire, someone's going to kidnap my kids. I'd
Yeah.
probably thank them for the break.
Yeah. So you thank them for the break. So you had better programs.
Hold it for another 30 days. I need to go
Yeah.
to town, and then I'll pay you when I get back.
Yeah.
And some of that depends on your personal experience. I don't know if you guys have kept up with it, but like the Dominican and Venezuelan baseball players have to pay about half their salary for security teams because their entire families disappear. Even people with just the same last name as them or walking down the street. He's got the last name. I can't think of a player. I don't follow baseball that
Right,
much.
maybe he's a Rodriguez or whatever.
Yeah. He's got the last name Rodriguez too. Maybe he's related and they kidnap him. In countries like Venezuela, Cuba, Dominican Republic. Yeah. And it's very interesting. So if you're from some of those places,
I
they
guess it could be legitimate fear.
it could be a legitimate fear.
Yeah, your culture will definitely could have something to play on that.
Yeah.
But here
Yeah.
in America, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you're also famous. I read an article once about how many tens of, I think it was hundreds of thousands of dollars that Donald Trump pays to keep his kids safe. To someone with that type of profile. Yeah. But then again, they say Warren Buffett drives himself around. He doesn't have that. Of course, he also lives in Omaha,
Yeah.
not New York City.
But he probably doesn't drive to Wendy's and sit down and have a burger for lunch either. You know what I mean?
It's McDonald's.
You
No, Dairy Queen.
Is that what it is, Dairy Queen?
Yeah, Dairy Queen.
But
It's one of
what
his
he eats.
holdings.
oh,
No, actually, that was McDonald's because he goes to one of them like every day and eats a cheeseburger.
Yeah. No, he actually he does about once every 2-3 years. He actually serves ice cream. It was one of the first companies he purchased was Dairy Queen. He's owned them for like 40 years now. Yeah. Dairy Queen, See's Candy, Geico. There's only 20 or 30 companies he owns. Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. But GM,
just a handful.
General Motors, yeah. He finally traded in his Lincoln for a Cadillac.
Just a handful of little businesses.
Yeah, just a handful of businesses. So let's see. As I mentioned earlier, each of us has a well file. We've been talking about well files on and off today. Each of us has a well file inside the cabinet we call our mind. So we have all these little files, He calls them well files, which is a good way to say it. They're basically all these little memories and all these little triggers in our mind, which we've picked up over the years. Often since, we could first hear people speak. And the file contains just personal beliefs, and some are very, very deep in us. And some of those personal beliefs, are how wonderful it would be to be rich. But for many people, it also includes information that being rich is not so wonderful. All depends how you were raised and what messages you picked up. And I, hate to say it, but I don't know the exact percentage, but between a quarter and a third of those messages are just things you made up yourself. Maybe you saw something like you saw your parents or grandparents or something arguing about money, and you as a little kid saw argument, money, scary, and without really thinking about it, you just snapshot in your mind, money's a scary thing. And then as you get older, it comes out as, it's going to be a hassle and I'll have to do accountants and all that type of stuff. But really it's a 3-year-old's, it's a justification of a 3-year-old emotional belief, money's scary. That's very interesting. If you get into the psychology, it's very interesting how we form our belief system. And one of the things psychologists say is 80% by 8. By 8 years old, basically your inner wealth files, your inner files about anything, your beliefs in life are kind of there already in the file cabinets, locked away by about 8 years old. Well, how much reasoning and logic does an 8-year-old have?
Right. More than we think.
Maybe. Or not.
They have the reason and logic to create these.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How they're perceiving them may be distorted, but they still have the ability, the logic, and the reasonability to create these belief systems.
Right. But they don't have the logic to sort them and file them in such a way that this one works and this one doesn't in the real world.
Right. But that's why it's so different between the people that are born into it, so to speak, and the people who are not, because they grow up seeing that, and to them that is the norm. That's normal. That's the way it's supposed to be. Everybody has money. Everybody's happy. Everybody's smiling. Everybody just does whatever the heck they want, whenever the heck they want. That's the way life's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Most people aren't born into that. That's
No.
not what they see.
No. Yeah. Most people are born into some version of the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And so that's what they see. And, to borrow from Jeff, what Jeff always says, and then you go to school and you're taught by teachers that are employees, and then you go to college and you're taught by professors that are employees, and they teach you what they know, employee stuff.
How to be an employee.
Yeah. And then if you go to grad school, I went to an alternative grad school, so I didn't learn from employees, but I learned from all the people they hired at my school. I went to University of Phoenix, which the founder, second for the founder, just passed away. But at University of Phoenix, so they said they had professionals teaching us, not employees. But at least every instructor I had was not what Kiyosaki would call a B-level business owner or an investor. They were all S employees. Like one was an attorney, one owned a consultant firm, and so they, and one actually was an employee of a government agency, but there was an attorney. The other had a consultant firm, but they didn't have the B-style business.
Right.
They didn't have any passive income. They worked per contract and made their money, and basically if they would have stopped working, they wouldn't have any money anymore.
They didn't work for somebody else. They owned their own job and
Yeah.
worked for themselves.
And worked for
So
themselves.
they were still employees.
Yeah,
Good way of looking at it.
yeah.
And the
They were
thing
just,
about that, I don't know if you guys ever thought about this concept either. People that own their own businesses, quote, own my own
Yeah.
business, but they're really just self-employed. If you think about it, right, they have to be in that business every day, 5 days a week. To
Yeah.
make sure that business runs. So they have one job, 40-hour a week, where they have to be the manager of that business, right?
Yeah.
And then probably throughout that 40-hour week, they probably have to spend at least some hours doing something which an employee should probably really be doing. So they're a part-time employee as well.
right.
And then on top of all that, you are the business owner. You've got the full-time job of operating a business. So you actually own two plus jobs,
Yeah.
opposed to having just one job.
Right. That's why they call it self-employed.
Yeah.
You are an employee just of yourself.
Self-enslaved.
Self-enslaved. Slave of yourself. But they have to do all, they have to actually do all the work, and then they spent all Saturday and Sunday doing all the back office stuff. And the ones there are other out there that have employees, but the ones that were my instructors didn't even have any employees. They did it all themselves. Yeah, they were the business. So, so we have these wealth files, and they're put in there by our people. Some we make up ourselves. But the big thing is if we have wealth files of how well it would be to be rich, and we have other wealth files of how bad it would be to be rich, it creates internal conflict. So one part of us might say having money will make life a lot more fun, because if you have money, you can do stuff. But then you got that little voice inside that screams, like the self-employed people we were just talking about, yeah, but I'm going to have to work like a dog. Where's the fun in that? I'd like to be able to travel the world, yeah, but everyone in the world will want a handout. Yeah. Anyone have that experience? I've had that experience pretty often in my life. Anyone have the experience where you get maybe just a little bit of money? I mean, I never had what I'd consider a lot of money, but I've noticed with my circle of people, the magic number seems to be $10,000. Anytime someone gets $10,000 amassed, all of a sudden you have relatives calling you that you didn't even know were relatives. This third cousin calls and wants to get together with you. And who are you again?
I've not had that experience.
You've not had that experience.
No,
Yeah.
Really, well, who knows? I was a millionaire, maybe people would ask for money, but I'd
Yeah.
like to be in a position to be able to help
Yeah.
people too.
Oh yeah, so would I. But but what I'm saying is, if you just got a couple thousand and you all of a sudden got 50 people want $500 of it, the math doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I just saw something the other day. I'd read that Oprah Winfrey at one time was getting over 1 million pieces of mail each day, and had a whole part of the building she broadcast out of in Chicago was just where the mail was being stored till it could be processed. Yeah. Yeah, and most of it was people asking for
This is
some
my
type
story.
of.
Give me some money, please.
Yeah. This is my story. Give me some money, please.
She have a whole wing of employees just to open mail and read mail. I mean,
She had. I don't think she had a whole wing, but I think she had a small staff, like a unit or something. That just. I'm sure most of it didn't get opened. You know what I mean? They checked the return address, and you know what I mean. And I don't know, the letter from Tom Cruise got through, and the letter from
Right.
the letter from Joe Blow that was written in lipstick, didn't. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure she. I mean, I don't know how she did, but I'm sure she had a sorting process of it. But there are that type of thing. I've been fortunate enough. I've known three of the largest lottery winners of all time.
You've known them?
Yeah, yeah. It's so weird. Two of them were coworkers, and one was a cousin.
Really?
Wow, that's interesting. I've never met anyone that won the big
Yeah.
jackpots.
Yeah,
Our chances just got up because we know you.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I had my cousin won. This was like 1973. She won $250,000, which at that time was the largest. Yeah, largest lottery
Yeah.
What year was that?
ever. 72 or 73. $250,000, and then it was kind of funny. I had a coworker sat right next to me, and just by accident, it was the largest Powerball jackpot ever. It was $20 million. And just by accident, he used to go back and forth with other family members buying tickets. And it was his turn to buy the tickets, but they didn't know, and they bought the tickets also. And they always played the same numbers. It turned out there was 4 winners, but because him and his mother both had the same ticket, they got half the jackpot. And that was like 11 million. At that time, that was the largest one ever. And then about, about 7 or 8 years later, I was working for Prudential, and one of the clerks in our Prudential office won 104 million, which at the time was the largest ever. But the $10 million winner and the $104 million winner, no. Wasn't in on any of them.
No, you said our office one. I just wondered if you.
No, she is in our office. She worked in our
okay.
office. And she won it. No one in the office won it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
One of the lucky reps from the office, they would never tell us who. She chose one of the reps from the office to invest like 30 million of it for her. So that person also kind of won the lottery
Yeah.
in commissions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
So out of those people you know, are any of them have any money left?
they disappeared as soon as.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, she almost literally did, because she told, I didn't know her that closely, but she told one of my coworkers who won $104 million that there was literally a line maybe 4 or 5 blocks long in front of her door the day after she won it. Yeah. The day after she won it. And my other friend, it was kind of interesting because he had a bad back. And that's why he was working with us. He's actually a pipe fitter by trade. They told him to unload a truck. He was like, I can't unload a truck. I have a bad back. So they said, well, you unload the truck or you're fired. He went to unload the truck. And there was some type of accident, and a whole pile of boxes fell on him with his bad back. Injured him pretty bad. Yeah. So, in the wisdom of the administration at the time, guess what they did? They fired him immediately. So he sued them for a small fortune, and so they hired him back while the lawsuit was still going on. And then that's when he won the lottery. Was actually he was
We
back.
only fired him so he could recover,
Right. And so they hired him back, and they actually gave him a promotion. And he was sitting next to me in train when he won the lottery, and they fired him instantly again. So they fired him. They said he was a threat because he didn't have to worry about the job for income. Yeah, they fired him again. He's like, hey, I just won a little over $10 million. I can't afford the best lawyer in town now. I'm going forward with my lawsuit.
I think I would have bought that company.
I would have started the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, it
Brought him out
was
of business.
just his state of Arizona.
Oh, okay.
You can't really start the competition.
I guess you couldn't really buy the company then.
Couldn't really buy the company either. No, couldn't really buy the company either. But anyway,
Buy
Yeah.
a couple of politicians.
yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, he applied. I don't know. the last I had talked to him, his idea was he applied for graduate school at ASU.
Good.
He's going to get a master's degree in finance. He figured I got $10 million and now I need a math. See, rather than going, oh my God, like the wealth file here says, the wealth file of, oh, it's going to be all this hassle. I need all these lawyers. He's like, I'll get a master's degree in finance and learn from the professors how to handle it.
Perfect.
There you go.
Good way to go.
Yeah. And I can afford lawyers now.
Right.
So let's see what else we got here. An important part of the wealth principle is the number one reason most people don't get what they want is that they don't know what they want.
That's true.
Yes.
And that goes into the wealthy people are committed. Part of commitment is how does Napoleon Hill say it? Definite chief aim?
Yep.
Definite major purpose.
Yeah. A definite major purpose, a definite chief aim.
Your one thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
absolutely important to have goals and dreams and things you're aspiring to. How can you get there if you don't know where you're going?
Yeah. Yeah, you're putting out to the universe, well, I want to be wealthy, but I don't want the hassle of it, but, well, maybe if it falls in my lap, but if it falls in my lap, then I'll have to.
Yeah, the law of attraction can't work unless you're clear.
Yeah.
Clarity leads to power, as Jeff
Yep.
always says.
Clarity leads to power. Yeah. And one of the things, I don't have it in front of us here. I have it sitting over on the chair because I'm trying to conduct this and do it online also. But one of the things I always have is my notebook on me. I see notebooks here too. Yeah. It is just remarkable how things that are written down tend to happen so much more often than things that aren't. Yeah. Even one of the things I've had the unfortunate thing of having to do in my career is to do a lot of suicide interventions, people that are contemplating committing suicide. And one of the things that almost all social workers, counselors type do is they write what they call a no harm contract. And they actually have the person write out, I commit I will not harm myself before next Monday the 1st, and then they sign it. And they found that if someone is willing to write it and sign it, once it's written and signed, they almost never attempt. Unfortunately, we don't run 100%, wish I could say we did.
Right.
But they found out over just getting the person to say,
I won't do it.
I won't do it. But if you get someone to commit to write it and sign it, there's power there. For some reason, it turns the intangible real thing, the thought, into the tangible real thing, the piece of paper that's written down.
Power of the pen.
The power of the pen. They say it's mightier than the sword. The power of the pen. So that's probably the first step is knowing. Being committed means knowing what you want. And then the second part of it is, actually writing it down so you can see it and touch it on a regular basis. Here's where I'm going. How does it say not to be religious, but the ancient wisdom part of it? I believe there's ancient wisdom in all the holy books, but one of the ancient wisdom things in the Bible says you cannot serve more than one master. If you serve more than one master, you get confused. You try to start 7 businesses at one time. Unless they relate to each other, you find yourself running around rather than having the definite chief aim. What is my definite chief aim here? I want to be an internet marketer. That's your definite chief aim. I want to make this amount of
Are
money.
you guys okay?
Oh, we're doing great.
You want another diet?
Oh, no
What's
thanks.
up
I'm
with
actually
you?
doing better than usual because I'm talking more than drinking today. So,
Okay, I'll just be back.
yeah.
Oh, no.
One of the big ones here is it says people sometimes have a little voice inside their head that say something like, rich people don't care if it's legal, moral, or ethical. It says if you think that you're definitely doing the right thing by reading this book, you'll soon find out what a detrimental way of thinking that is. I don't know. I think the universe has a way of punishing people that aren't legal, moral, or ethical.
That's true.
They tend to win short term.
Yeah,
but-
eventually, one way or another.
Yeah, eventually one way or another. I mean, look, Bernie Madoff. I
All
mean,
caught up to him.
yeah. I mean, talk about a person in the so-called catbirds. He was the head of the largest exchange in the world. You know, it was like, why did he need to do this little side thing that ended up bringing him down?
Mm-hmm.
If he would just stay legal, moral, and ethical as the head of the largest exchange in the world, he probably would have done okay for himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that, human nature is when you have more, you want more. And, some people let that
Yeah.
get out of hand.
Yeah. But see, is that a human nature? Or is that a wealth file that was stuck in your head?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I mean, just like, the whole idea, with credit and everything else, the way the last 40 years have gone.
Yeah.
Just have this ability to obtain more things.
Right.
Whether they have the money to get it or not, so they go out there and put themselves in debt, and then the debt gets bigger and bigger and bigger because the more they have, the more they want.
Yeah.
So kind of human nature, yes, I do think so.
Yeah, there is some in there. There is some in
You
there.
got the PlayStation, you need the games.
Yeah.
TV, you need the internet.
Yeah. You
Cable,
need something to
direct
broadcast
TV.
to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right,
This
computer,
two
you need
just
the
came out.
internet.
This thing's still good anymore. I
Yeah.
need two now.
Yeah. That's something I've been playing with because really, we're broadcasting from Coco's in Phoenix, Paradise Valley Mall. So come here and get some breakfast one day. But
We'll let you join us.
yeah, and we'll let you join us. It's every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. So one of the things that I've been struggling with is because really you have a television, and right now in Phoenix there's about 60 channels just with a rabbit ear.
Mhm.
So do you really need all that?
Depends where you live. If
Yeah.
you're here, you have the mountain, you get blocked by
Oh,
South
you
Maryland.
do?
Yep. We can't get
Oh.
anything because the antennas are at South Mountain.
Yeah, a lot of
These
them
mountains
are.
right here that block everything.
Yeah, some are in South Mountain, some are in Globe.
Mhm.
Everybody gets about 15 channels with a piece of aluminum foil and a paperclip.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel robbed. I'm paying $60 a month. I only got 22.
Wow.
I just want the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Would be, yeah, plug in a rabbit ear one day. If you
I'd
got
probably get more channels.
if you got a TV that's like you have to have the TV that is set for the HD or have a converter box. It's about it has to be 2007 or newer. Everyone's required by law after 2007 to have the converter box in it. And anyway, yeah, you get I get like 57 where I'm at, and I'm in a bad reception zone. I mean, I used to get nothing way back in the day. I used to get about 8 channels.
That's funny.
So you just have an antenna? No, you don't.
No, because I also live with other people. I got the full shebang, 1,000 channels,
Oh, gotcha.
and Netflix, and
But I'd rather create the wealth so I don't have to worry about any of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
A bunch of 1,000 channels, have them.
Yep.
Don't talk to me though, because
have them.
can't relate to you.
Yeah.
Your mind's in that box.
But I also bring out the point that it's if you have time serving two masters, if you have time for 1,000 channels, you're probably not spending a lot of time creating wealth.
No.
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah,
Certainly attest to that.
certainly it is. Yeah,
No, seriously, I mean, the last, before I really started trying to get in and, change my life and do something better, it was all about coming home after work and turning on the TV and having a beer and, 100 channels to choose from and 150 channels or however many DirecTV gets you anymore, the $150 NFL package on the week and watch all 15 games and they're freaking pushing buttons watching 15 games at the same time, Was I going anywhere? Heck no. How much TV do I watch now? Zero, pretty
Yeah.
much.
yeah. I'm one of those people. I use TV like I used radio growing up. I almost always have it on in the background, but I'm not actually watching it. I'm working on the computer, or I'm reading something, or it's just kind of the noise that's going in the background.
The TV bothers me doing that. I find it very distracting having somebody else talking and jabbing,
Yeah.
and then the commercial comes on and they're yelling at you, and then it goes back lower
Yeah.
and all that. I mean, I'll put music on. And,
Yeah, I've done it with music also. Sometimes I just have music on the TV.
Or if I can put on like a motivational tape or something where somebody's talking about something that I think
Yeah.
is worth hearing and letting it distract me every once in a while. But just
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I don't know why, but the TV for me, the the background. I find myself doing something and then I'll hear something on the TV and the next thing I'm all looking at the TV, you know what I mean?
And some people
Very-
are like that.
Very distracting,
Yeah, and some people are like that, and then I wouldn't recommend it.
yeah.
And there are some wonderful now with modern technology. Like I have my Android device. I can hook it direct to the TV, and so I go on the internet. And like one of the things I suggest you all watch. It's just remarkable to watch him actually do it. But they have the course, the Law of Success in 16 Lessons, actually being taught by Napoleon Hill
Mhm.
on
For
YouTube.
free on YouTube.
For free. He does each of the lessons himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't remember how many hours it is. It's quite a few hours. It took me about 2 weeks to watch it.
That thing, it's gotta be.
But watching that for breakfast in the morning,
Yeah.
well, I mean breakfast in the morning, I found so much more edifying than watching what's usually on Walker, Texas Ranger, or Sports Center.
Or the news, it's on TV, it's supposed to be informative. And
Yeah. I'm one of those many people that avoid the news like the plague because it's not very.
I mean, if you got YouTube, you really don't need television. If you
Yeah.
got the internet.
Yeah.
Because like any self-development course, anything
Yeah.
is free on YouTube. And like it might not be free all the time, but someone will put it up on a channel, you'll watch it, and then they'll get copyright infringement, it'll get pulled down, but it'll just end up back on there again. So,
Yeah.
Someone else will put it up.
yeah.
Yeah, there's hours of, if you're into, the multi-load, there's Eric Worre has an entire course. I've watched it a couple times now. It's like 9 videos that last anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. And it's like, it's weird. The first one is called number 0 for whatever reason. Then there's lesson 0, and then there's lessons 1 through 8. And it's just the entire course of what you need to do to set up a multi-level marketing business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name?
Worre, W-O-R-R-E.
W-O-R-R-E. Eric Worre?
I think it's Eric.
Check into.
But check it, W-O-R-R-E, and he's one that does annual things every year up in Vegas. But that's where a lot of it comes from, is tapes of that. But I mean, it just starts with, here's 0 is mindset. And then like number 1 is how to invite someone. Then number 2 is how to set up a 3-way call after you invite someone. Number 3 is. Man, it's just step by step by step
0
by
makes
step.
sense to me now. Ground 0, right here.
Yeah.
Brain.
Yeah. It's where what we were taught. It's where the 8-step we were talking comes from. The
It all stems from
Yeah.
the mindset.
yeah, John. I see you're a real businessman, and you know what? I don't got a lot of time to talk to you, but I just ran across this wonderful thing that I think you might be interested in. I think you do really good at. You got a few minutes to look at this tape I have. Great.
Sure.
Great. So if I call you by, say, when do you think you'd have a good chance to look at it by?
Tomorrow morning.
Okay. So if I was to call you, say, the day after that, Thursday morning or afternoon, do you think you'd for sure have watched it by then?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll send you the email, and then just open it up, and there's a little video to watch, plus about 4 chapters of a book. It took me about 5 minutes to read it. Read it at your leisure. And what's better for me to call you on Thursday, morning or afternoon?
Thursday, call me in the morning.
Okay, so I will call you Thursday morning at this number I have for you, and we'll talk about it more then.
Sounds good.
And that's one of the Eric Worre lessons.
Oh, so he teaches that quick
Yeah.
1 minute
Yeah,
call.
and he does it, and I mean, he does it like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times with 5 or 6 different people. Yeah, because he's in this big audience at Caesar's Palace or something.
And he'll do like a live phone call?
No, it's all on stage.
Oh,
It's
gotcha.
a live stage
Gets
show.
somebody out in the audience and says, hey, you.
Yeah. Or he says who'd like to do it. Yeah. So anyway, it's like you said, you had mentioned earlier also, with the modern internet, the knowledge is out there. The hard thing is, Alex Mendosian says the hard thing is being and what people are going to pay more money for nowadays is to be a curator. Because even though there's more knowledge out there than ever before, you got to figure out what's pretty good and what's not.
Right. It has to be filtered.
Yeah. has to be
Yeah,
filtered.
That's for sure.
And he believes that people are going to make millions and even billions just being the filter. That's part of what he taught us at the workshop that John and I were at. And part of what I'm doing, like I have my Twitter site, and a lot of my tweets are just filtering the tweets I get in. And so then I retweet the stuff that's important to my message. Yeah, it's that time. So anyway, so part of it is the commitment to being rich. And in our wealth principle, this one is if you are not fully, totally, and truly committed to creating wealth, chances are you won't. You won't just fall into it. You have to have commitment. The people that just fall into it need a commitment to grow it and keep it, or they won't.
But we know you get something with a lot of.
Oh, there you go.
We got
But
a chance.
60% of lotto winners are bankrupt within 5 years.
It's gonna be a good 5 years.
Because they borrow an amount equal to what they want, and then they can't pay it back with interest. So let's look at our wealth file today. Our declaration for today is I commit to being rich.
I commit to being rich.
I commit to being rich. And we want to wait 2 minutes for Paul to come back, and then it will be time to wrap up.
There he is now.
Here he is now.
Do you commit to being rich, Mr. Romero?
What's that?
Do you commit to being rich?
I commit
Okay.
to being a millionaire or more.
So let's go ahead and close up like we always do. Let's stand up, hands on our hearts.
Huh?
Can you still see us? No, you see my big belly.
Now
Ready?
lean in.
I commit to being rich. And of course, you have a millionaire mind. You have a millionaire mind.
You have a millionaire mind, John.
Okay, well,
All
thank
right.
you all for coming today. And thanks to everyone who eventually watches this on YouTube or whatever. And I know some of you have to leave now, so let me go ahead and stop the broadcast.